Hi, I'm Judith Monroe and this is my studio. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Snapseed app on your phone or your tablet to do some basic digital photo editing. This is primarily for my students in beginning photography, but I think you might find it interesting no matter who you are. So here I've got my iPad home screen open, and I'm going to open the Snapseed app. You can see that icon right there. And when I get the app open, I just need to tap anywhere to open a photo, and I get to see the images that I've recently taken. So I'm just gonna pop this one in here. And so this is a shot I just took over on my table over there, and I just want to show you a couple of the basic things to do. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look at tuning the image. So you have a whole screen here. Tuning the image is going to be one of your most important things. And I've got an adjust button. And I've got all of these options, and I can change by sliding this little menu up and down. And when I'm on the brightness, I can slide it. I'm just sliding my finger across the screen is how I'm changing this. Okay. So I'm actually pretty okay with my brightness, so I'm not going to be messing with that. For my students, I want saturation is what I just tapped. And I want to actually, I can subtract, or add saturation, but for my students, I want us to go completely black and white and live in this monochromatic world. And then I'm going to come back to my adjusting, and I'm going to come back up to contrast. And this looks kind of gray and kind of flat, so I'm going to, this also, if I tap it and hold it, it shows me what I've just done. But with contrast now, I'm going to increase my contrast a bit, but I don't want to go too far. It kind of gets a little too contrasty. I'm going to increase it some, but I'm going to show you a way to kind of get a lot more of a tonal range. Lots of different grays. We want black blacks and white whites and a lot of nice grays in the middle. And so I'm coming back down to my adjust, and I'm going to come down here to highlights, and I can again increase my highlights. So those are my whites. And I'm not entirely sure if I want to do a whole lot of that, but I want you to see how you can control these tonal values. So I'm leaving it slightly up. And now I'm going to come up to shadows. And with shadows, I want to bring my shadows down a little bit maybe, so I can kind of play with that. And then finally on this, warmth isn't going to do me good because I want to stay in my desaturated state. But the other one up here, ambiance. This is an interesting word. When I increase ambiance, it kind of opens up shadows a little bit. And so sometimes I'll do that if I feel like my shadows are really dark. I might play with that a little bit. And then that's pretty much all that I can do in here. My brightness, contrast, saturation, ambiance, highlights, shadows, warmth. So this is pretty much all I can do here. And I'm just going to hit the little check mark. And now I'm going to go back over, and I want to show you something. This is tonal contrast. So it's separating all of the different tonal values and separating out in between. So it has, again, if I touch this screen, I can get these different tones, my high tones, mid tones, low tones. I can protect my highlights, and I can protect my shadows so that they don't, the highlights don't get so white and what we call blocked, or the shadows become too black. I don't generally need to do those, and when I'm here in tonal contrast, just the standard settings, come back here, you can see it's put it, I just did it again, 30%, so they're plus 30 on my high tones, plus 50 on my mid-tones, and my low tones have been expanded as well. So if you can see, this is kind of what it looked like before, and now it's just kind of separated out all of those different tonal values. And sometimes I might kind of separate them out a little bit more. And so I'm just adjusting these things by running my finger up on the screen, sideways, here, until I'm getting a lot more variation in those tonal values. So I'm going to say I like that. And I want to show you a way to kind of deal with cropping. That's what I wanted to do. So this is the cropping tool. And you can see at the bottom I have several different options, aspect ratios. I'll stay with the original, and I can just grab a corner, move it around. I actually don't want to crop this because I was really careful when I was shooting it. But I could, if I felt like I really needed to make it a square, I might do something like this. But I'm going to go back to the original. I could also, if I just did something and changed my mind, I can always hit the little X down there. And I think that's the only thing I'm going to tell you about right now. I might come back. I'll do that out. And another thing I want to show you in Snapseed here is how to do a couple of little things. One thing that I have a tendency I can kind of like is the vignette. So vignetting just makes, you can see the outside edge is a little bit darker, and I can control how much by sliding. You can see my little slider at the top, so I can make them really dark, which is generally not a good idea. But a lot of times our edges, if they're lighter, can be a little distracting. We generally want the inside to be where our attention goes. And I can do this, right now this is affecting my outer brightness. If I slide up, I can get my inner brightness. So I can actually increase the brightness in the middle a little bit as well. And so a lot of times I'll do that just to kind of help keep the center image, the focus here, and not to let any light things happening distract on the edges. And then another trick, say like you have just like one corner or one thing that's causing trouble, that was selective. I have a little blue button that says I can add. So I could add a little dot here. If I use 2 fingers on my screen, I can pinch and it'll show me everything in red is what it's going to affect. And so I generally try to make it very selective, and I could bring that down or make it brighter. In this case, I really don't want to mess with this too much. I'm kind of liking where it's going here, but I wanted you to see how it works. So I'm going to just say, nope, not going to do that. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, one more thing. This little booger right there, that really irritates me. I should have cleaned that up. A nice tool here is healing. I can pinch it to get it more specific, I have this little, oops, I just touched it. If I tap here, look at that. Is that just like magic? That's just the most amazing thing to me. I can even get, like, I have a little tiny thing there. So, and I can pinch it to make it bigger. Look at that. Is that awesome? And then I can go like this. So that little, you can see when I open and close it, that little circle, that tells me how big of an area it's gonna handle. I think that's pretty much it for now. This is a really fun, so I'm gonna hit the check mark. This is a really fun, easy app to use, and I highly recommend it. It's free on both iOS and Android. When I'm done with the image, I'm simply clicking on this. I generally export so that I still have my original, and what that exporting does is puts this image now in my camera roll. If I saved, I would overwrite it, and I'm not as comfortable with that. Exporting gives me more options. I could come back to that original and edit it a different way. So that's the basics of Snapseed.
So I hope that helped you begin to understand a little bit of how Snapseed works. I'm sure that once you play with it, you're really going to get the hang of it. It's a pretty simple, really nice photo editing app that you've got on your phone or your tablet. Have fun. Oh, and don't forget, subscribe, like, comment. Thanks.